Before you scroll away, take a breath. Because if you're hearing this right now, it's not random. Something, or someone, made sure these words would find you. There's a shift happening in the unseen. The air feels heavier, time feels faster, and deep inside, you can sense it. Something's coming. Not everyone can feel it. Only those chosen to see beyond the surface can hear the vibration of heaven warning through the noise. This is not fear speaking. This is preparation. A divine alert sent to those who have been restless, unsettled, aware that their spirit is trying to tell them something the world keeps ignoring. You've felt the tension, haven't you? The sudden changes, the closed doors, the strange pull to isolate, to pray harder, to let go of things that used to feel safe. It's not coincidence. It's calling. If you stay through this message, you'll understand what that inner stirring truly means. You'll see why the pressure around you is not punishment, but purpose, and how heaven uses warning as a weapon to protect what's sacred. Every second you listen brings you closer to clarity. Don't click away, because by the time this ends, you'll know why God made sure you didn't miss it. 1. The stirring of the watchers. Listen closely. Something unseen is moving through the air you breathe. You can feel it, not in the noise of the world, but in the trembling of your own spirit. The heavens have shifted, and those who are awake can sense the weight of it. The Lord is sounding an alarm, not in thunder or flame, but in the quiet pull within you that refuses to let you rest in comfort. You were never meant to sleep through this hour. You were meant to stand between what is seen and what is coming. There is a wind of separation passing through the lives of the chosen. It tears down attachments that have disguised themselves as peace. It exposes motives that were never aligned with purpose. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. God is warning, but His warning carries love, not fear. He removes what cannot stand so that what is eternal may rise. Many are mistaking this shaking for loss, but heaven calls it refinement. When you find your plans collapsing, when people drift away and doors shut without explanation, do not call it chaos. Call it construction. He is building something that demands stronger foundations than you have ever known. The Spirit whispers, "Be still and discern." The danger you sense is not only outside of you, it is within every compromise you've allowed to live too long. The enemy's first weapon is distraction. He offers noise where God offers silence, hurry where God offers direction, comfort where God offers calling. Every time you feel the tug to delay obedience, you stand at the edge of a subtle battlefield. Chosen one, God's warning is not about terror. It is about timing. There is a moment appointed for you to act, and heaven is aligning events to that precise second. Do not wait for full understanding. Obedience is the understanding. When He says move, move. When He says release, release. Every command from His mouth carries provision for what follows. Some of you have felt the weight of confusion, why doors once blessed now feel heavy to push open. It is because the season has shifted and grace has moved forward. You are being invited to walk where logic cannot follow. This is how faith graduates from theory to truth, by stepping into the unseen and discovering that the ground appears only after your foot leaves the last stone. The call now is vigilance, not paranoia, but posture. Keep your spirit sharp, pray before reacting, listen before planning. Watch how He speaks through interruptions, through unexpected delays, through the restlessness that visits your nights. Each of these is a message coded in circumstance. Be alert. The hour is serious, but you are not alone. Angels stand guard over the obedient. Light is drawn to every heart that refuses compromise. Heaven is not looking for perfection, it is looking for attention. The ones who listen will be the ones who lead when others panic. The world may shake, but those anchored in His voice will rise steady amid the trembling. This is the stirring of the watchers, the awakening of those marked to perceive before others see. Feel the urgency in your bones. Something holy is calling your name, asking not for fear, but for focus. The signs are everywhere for those who will notice. The inner unrest, the shifting winds, the tightening of conviction. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates. Follow them. 2. The threshold between storms. The sky had been clear that morning. Too calm, almost deceptive. The chosen often learn that stillness before a storm is not peace. It is permission. A whisper of heaven telling you, hold steady. Something is about to shift. In the quiet of your own heart, you've felt it. You've looked around and seen the familiar begin to fade, as though life itself were rewriting the script you thought you understood. The conversations that used to fill you now drain you. The plans that once inspired you now feel like borrowed clothes that no longer fit. It isn't failure, it's transition. God moves His chosen across thresholds that comfort can't cross. The danger isn't always loud. Sometimes it comes like fog, soft, creeping, subtle. It doesn't roar, it settles. It convinces you that compromise is harmless, that delay is wisdom, that obedience can wait until you feel ready. But heaven doesn't move by feelings. It moves by faith. Those who hesitate at the edge of obedience never see what was waiting on the other side of surrender. Look at how the Spirit trained Elijah. Alone by the brook, fed by ravens, hidden from the noise of kings. The lesson wasn't isolation, it was instruction. God hides those He's preparing to reveal. The chosen often mistake hiddenness for abandonment, but hiddenness is protection until your voice carries His tone and not your own. You too have been hidden. Every closed door, every delay, every silence has been a rehearsal for obedience. You were never being ignored, you were being refined. Each unanswered prayer has been a classroom for trust. Each disappointment, a dismantling of idols you didn't realize you built. And now, the air changes. The unseen pressure of coming events presses against the edges of your faith. Heaven's voice speaks not in threat, but in invitation. Rise! The time of preparation is ending. What I placed in you must now walk into what I've prepared for you. There's a trembling when destiny knocks. Not fear, gravity. You can sense it when you pray. Your words feel heavier, your discernment sharper. The things that once entertained you now irritate you because your spirit has outgrown your atmosphere. That discomfort is not punishment. It's the signal that you've reached the threshold. The storm is not sent to destroy you, but to announce your readiness. God never reveals strength in calm seas. The storm reveals what peace truly is. Not the absence of wind, but the presence of confidence in the one who commands it. Hear this. Every chosen soul must walk through a storm that exposes what is unanchored. When the winds rise, don't run. Root. Stand still enough to hear which way the wind belongs to God. Every gust that doesn't carry His voice will pass. Every pressure that He permits is shaping endurance in you. You've been sensing the edges of something greater. That isn't imagination, it's invitation. The world around you may call it crisis. Heaven calls it calibration. This is the hour where the chosen discern what others dismiss. The Lord is training your ears to recognize His cadence in chaos, His peace in noise, His direction in delay. So do not curse the storm. Speak through it. There's a voice waiting to rise in you that only wind can wake. 3. The call to stand. Stand up. You've been sitting in silence long enough. The hour has shifted. Heaven is not whispering anymore. It's roaring through your circumstances, demanding that the chosen rise. This is not the time for gentle belief. This is the time for holy defiance. To look fear in the face and say, "You no longer own my silence." The Spirit of the Lord says, "Enough hiding." The days of shrinking so others feel comfortable around your light are over. You are not called to blend in, you are called to break through. Every chosen soul carries a sound, a frequency heaven recognizes. But that sound is released only when you stand. God didn't anoint you to agree with fear. He anointed you to confront it, to walk into the same valley where others retreat and plant your feet as if angels built the ground beneath them. There is a shaking taking place, not to destroy your foundation, but to prove it. The world will call it chaos, but heaven calls it confirmation. Rise, chosen one. The danger that surrounds you has been misread. It's not the sign of your end. It's the evidence of your assignment. Hell does not fight the ordinary. The warfare you feel is not random. It's revelation that you matter in realms you cannot see. Every attack against you has a hidden complement inside it. You are a threat to the darkness you once tolerated. The enemy studies your rhythm. He knows when your faith is loud and when your worship grows quiet. That's why he waits until you're weary to whisper doubt. But the Spirit says, sharpen your faith again. Worship like your lungs were created for it. Pray until your atmosphere bends under the weight of your authority. When you speak with conviction, you echo the voice that parted seas and silenced storms. This is the hour of action. The chosen can no longer survive on comfort. Faith must have muscle. Obedience must have motion. Stop asking God to confirm what He's already commanded. Move. The miracle is not waiting at the starting line. It's hiding on the path. You will never find divine provision where disobedience stands. Still hear the language of heaven. Advance. Even if your knees shake, advance. Even if the plan feels unclear, advance. The ground doesn't appear before courage, it appears beneath it. God is not asking for perfection, He's asking for movement. Every step you take in faith rewrites what fear thought it controlled. Do not underestimate the power of one obedient moment. One yes to God has the authority to overturn generations of delay. When you align with His command, the atmosphere must yield. Walls crumble, chains break, curses lose their grip. The natural bends under the supernatural, and every part of creation recognizes who sent you. Heaven is raising warriors, not worriers. Those who don't run from fire, but walk through it with their eyes fixed on the one who stands within it. You were forged for these conditions. You were not born to avoid battle, but to carry victory into it. When you speak, let every fear remember who covers you. When you walk, let every shadow know its expiration date. The warning has already gone forth. Now comes the movement. This is the sound of the chosen waking up. Stand firm, speak boldly, move forward. The same Spirit that raised the dead now breathes in you. Act like it. 4. Whisper. Beneath the thunder. There is a sound that only the still can hear. It hides beneath thunder, waiting for hearts quiet enough to recognize it. It is not the storm that speaks. It is the silence beneath it. When God warns His chosen, it doesn't always come as lightning or flame. Sometimes it's a soft unease in the chest, a restlessness that keeps you awake when everyone else is asleep. It's His Spirit tapping gently, saying, look closer. Don't drift, I'm speaking. You think the danger is loud, but it rarely is. The real danger often moves like dust in sunlight, small, weightless, unnoticed, until it gathers enough to dim your vision. That's why heaven teaches sensitivity before strategy. The ones who survive the storm are not the strongest, but the ones who listened soonest. The whisper doesn't compete with chaos, it waits beneath it. It speaks through the tremble of memory, through the ache that refuses to heal, through the quiet conviction that says, this is not where you belong anymore. The chosen learn to interpret discomfort as direction. God hides His warnings inside daily moments. The friend who drifts away, the door that won't open, the peace that suddenly leaves a room. He does not shout because love never needs to. He simply shifts the atmosphere until you notice that something once sweet has turned bitter. That's when you know He's moving you. You are not called to decay where He has withdrawn His light. What feels like loss is relocation. The soil that once fed you is now closing. You cannot bloom where the season has ended. Heaven's gardeners know when to uproot before the frost arrives. There are nights when he will silence your surroundings, so that the only sound left is his breath in your chest. That is where revelation lives, not in noise, but in nearness. He strips away the familiar so that your dependency has nowhere else to go but upward. It is mercy, not punishment, to be emptied by God. The warning is love disguised as absence. The absence is space for awareness, and awareness is the beginning of obedience. He does not warn to frighten you, but to awaken you. He knows how easily humans cling to comfort, even when it's killing them slowly, so he disturbs your peace before destruction can find it. He lets what you built tremble, not because he hates it, but because he knows you are made for something unshakable. Listen, can you feel it? The tightening of time, the thinning of air, the pull of something greater than you. That's not anxiety, that's alignment. Heaven is positioning you between what was and what will be. You are standing in the breath between warnings and wonders. Every chosen soul must learn to interpret silence as signal. The absence of direction does not mean abandonment. It means calibration. God is tuning your spirit like an instrument before a symphony. He's ensuring your next note won't echo the dissonance of your past. The whisper beneath the thunder is not asking for panic. It's asking for posture. The same voice that calls stars by name now calls you to stillness. The world demands reaction, but heaven rewards attention. There's a reason the winds obey him. They recognize the tone that created them. And when he whispers your name, everything inside you that has pretended to be strong will bow. 5. The hour of reckoning. The horizon burns red, not with fire, but with decision. Heaven's clock is striking louder, and every second is a summons. You can almost hear the world exhale, a deep, uncertain breath before the turning of an age. This is the hour when the chosen are called to see beyond what eyes can register. The shaking that surrounds you is not chaos out of control. It's heaven rearranging what earth has mishandled. The systems of men are trembling because the purposes of God are demanding room. You, chosen one, stand in the tension between exposure and awakening. There is a reckoning unfolding, not just in nations, but in souls. God is calling his people out of the noise, separating the called from the casual, the faithful from the familiar. You can feel it, the split between what once worked and what no longer carries his breath. Those who ignore the warning will drown in comfort. Those who heed it will rise in clarity. The Spirit of the Lord walks the earth like a storm, scouting for faith. He is testing foundations, shaking titles, undoing platforms built without purity. It's not judgment for destruction, it's correction for restoration. Every unholy structure trembles when holiness steps into the room. You have been sensing it, that invisible heaviness, that silent pull to pray deeper, to let go faster, to trust beyond logic. That's not coincidence. Heaven is aligning soldiers. This is not a season of spectatorship, it's a season of positioning. Every delay you've faced was discipline, every battle was training, every unanswered prayer was ammunition being forged. Look at the patterns of old. When Noah built, they laughed. When Moses lifted his staff, they doubted. When Esther spoke, they trembled. Every warning from God looks foolish until it's fulfilled. That's why obedience is your armor. It protects you from the opinion of those asleep in daylight. The Lord is calling forth voices like trumpets, prophets clothed in humility, intercessors burning in silence, dreamers who have been refined in obscurity. The world will not recognize them by title, but by thunder. When they speak, the air will shift. When they pray, walls will sweat. Heaven is not raising celebrities. It's raising sentinels. Chosen one, you are not exempt from this call. The same fire that consumes altars now seeks to cleanse your heart. Every compromise must face the flame. Every distraction must bow to discernment. This is not punishment, it's preparation. The oil of your calling is too precious to be mixed with fear. Watch the horizon again. The red is deepening. The line between truth and deception grows thinner by the hour. The Spirit whispers, "Stay awake." What you tolerate today will rule you tomorrow. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. This is why God warns, not to scare, but to steer. There are moments heaven interrupts the routine. When time bends and eternity stares through the veil. You're living in one of those moments now. You've been marked to carry awareness when others chase entertainment. You've been called to recognize danger not as doom, but as direction. Lift your head. The wind has changed. The same air that carried dust now carries destiny. Every storm cloud forming above you has an assignment attached, not to crush you, but to crown you. 6. The voice in the quiet place, and you keep asking, "Lord, what are you trying to tell me?" But heaven answers in ways words cannot hold, not in noise, not in flash, not in thunder, only in the slow pull that tugs at your spirit when the world grows silent. You have looked for answers in signs, in confirmations, in the mouths of others, but the warning is already written inside you. It's the stirring that wakes you at strange hours. It's the unease that visits after certain conversations. It's the peace that leaves when you try to force something God has already withdrawn from. This is how he speaks when the volume of the world grows too loud, through discontent, through divine discomfort, through the weight that says, "This isn't it anymore." The danger you sense is not punishment, it's the invitation to shift. Every time your spirit grows restless, heaven is calling your attention higher. You've been asking for a sign of what's coming, but God often reveals warning through weariness. When your spirit feels heavy for no reason, it's not always attack. Sometimes it's discernment. Sometimes the ache you feel isn't yours. It's a burden you were born to intercede for. The chosen don't always feel peace because they are built to carry purpose. "I am not against you," says the Lord. "I am building you. I am shaping you to withstand what others break under." You think this pressure means danger, but it means destiny. There's something sacred about being trained in silence. Heaven's greatest lessons are whispered, not shouted. You will not always understand why he closes certain doors, but every divine no hides a deeper not yet. Every delay is a doorway being reinforced before you arrive, and yet there's another kind of danger, the one that hides behind distraction. The enemy rarely appears as a monster. He shows up as convenience. He doesn't tell you to reject your calling. He just convinces you to postpone it. That's why heaven's warnings often sound like urgency. The Spirit whispers, "Now." Not later, not someday. Now. Because the longer you wait, the quieter obedience becomes. You've been equipped for this exact moment, though it doesn't feel like it. God doesn't prepare his chosen by sparing them from storms. He prepares them by teaching them to see through rain. You are being trained to read the weather of the Spirit, to know when to move, when to kneel, when to speak, and when to wait. The Lord says, "You are my witness in this hour." When others panic, you will perceive. When others retreat, you will rise. You will not only survive the shaking, you will interpret it. Your life is not random, it's rehearsed. Every heartbreak, every silence, every season that felt wasted, they were rehearsals for discernment. You've been learning heaven's language through loss and recovery, through confusion and revelation, and now you can sense his movement even when he says nothing. That is maturity in the Spirit. Feel that stillness now, the quiet place inside you that refuses to bow to chaos. That is where he speaks. That is where he warns. That is where he strengthens. When the next storm rises, and it will, you won't fear it. You'll recognize it. You'll know it by the sound of its purpose, because what once felt like danger will now sound like destiny. You've made it here for a reason. That alone says something about who you are and what heaven sees in you. The warning you just heard was not meant to scare you. It was meant to wake you. Every word was a reminder that the danger surrounding you is smaller than the destiny within you. What feels heavy right now is not a burden. It's a signal. God is not trying to harm you. He's calling you higher. You've been chosen for clarity in a world built on confusion. That's why certain things no longer satisfy you. That's why your peace gets disturbed when others remain calm. You are not designed to sleep through this hour. You are created to perceive it. So before you move on to the next video, pause. Listen. Let the noise fade until all that remains is His voice repeating, "I'm with you. I'm preparing you. Stay awake." And as you carry that awareness into your next breath, remember, every storm is temporary, but the one who listens to God's warning walks untouched through fire. You are chosen. You are covered. And heaven hasn't finished speaking yet.